Hey, it's Derwin again. Saw a bumper sticker the other day and it was very interesting to me. And growing up as a liberal and having conservative friends and meeting people, I've learned to have an appreciation for differing viewpoints and I've learned a lot about science and conspiracies and the left-right dichotomy, and there's a lot of arguing and fighting back and forth when it comes to science. And I remember being in school, and there was an anti-abortion group that had a biology professor as their their admin, the person administrating the club, and it was like that was going to convince people, oh, we know what we're talking about because we have a biology professor on our side. Or anti-evolution, oh, we have a biology professor on our side. Or for liberals, it might be something else, like we have this scientist on our side saying that this thing is okay. The bumper sticker said, "Science is not a liberal conspiracy." Very true. Science is not a liberal conspiracy. Science is a real thing. Science is how things work. Science makes it so we can discover how things work. If you're Christian, discover how God's gifts to humanity work. If you're pagan, discover the magic of the goddess. Okay, whatever. Science is real. Yes, of course science is real. Thing is, there are conservative and liberal scientists out there, okay? Everyone has an agenda. Everyone has their own agenda. If I want to see the liberal agenda succeed, I'm going to make my science more liberal. If I want to see a conservative agenda succeed, I'm going to make my science more conservative. And, I might have to lie, right? Yeah, scientists lie. You have people on the left, liberals, look at it as, my scientists would never lie. Those are good sources. Those are good people. They wouldn't lie to me. Same way on the conservative side, on the right. Those are good scientists, good, hard-working Christian scientists. They would never lie to me. Does clergy people never lie? I guess people who go to church say my clergy would never lie to me, but other clergy lies to their constituents, but not my clergy. My clergy would never lie to me. Okay, well, does a GMO scientist lie? Do scientists for Monsanto lie? Yeah. There's just all these different ideas that we need to take into consideration. Mainstream scientists are clergy to atheists that think that their science clergy are uncorruptible and incapable of lying. Opposing scientists lie, but not those that their politicians endorse. If your politicians endorse a scientist, then they must be telling the truth, right? I'm a liberal. My liberal politicians endorse this scientist. I'm a conservative. My conservative politicians endorse this scientist. They would never lie because my politicians don't lie, right? Only the other team lies, right? No. Everybody lies. Everybody can lie, and everybody has an agenda. Imagine, this is something that I talked a lot about a couple presidential campaigns ago. I'm not going to name names, but there was a presidential person who lost, who was going around convincing people who had dirt on this presidential on themselves to lie about the dirt that they had. Well, if a politician or a really, really uber rich, super rich person comes to you and says, this can't get out. Tesla technology can't get out. Wilhelm Reich's technology can't get out. We have to convince people that GMOs are okay for them to eat when they're not. Okay, so what are you going to do? I'm going to pay you $1 million. You're a scientist. You're researching this. Here's $1 million. Lie about it. Oh, you don't want to lie about it? Your ethics prevent you from lying about it? Okay, either I pay you the $1 million and you lie, or you're going to wake up having suicided yourself in the back of a head with a shotgun, which you can't actually do. They're going to take the $1 million and they're going to lie. Okay? So if your government tells this scientist to lie, then they're going to do it. If your government tells a doctor to lie, then they're going to do it. Most of them don't mind. Most of them are happy to do it because they're really just in it for the money anyway. And if you want to give them $1 million, they're fine with that. If you convince doctors to lie about a medical procedure, or you convince doctors to lie that there's no cure for this or that or the other, there's no cure for cancer, there's no cure for AIDS. When's the last time you saw a politician getting AIDS and cancer when they go off picking up hookers all the time? Okay, I don't know of any politicians. I could be wrong, okay, but they probably have cures for all these diseases, and rich people don't get these diseases, or they don't die from them at the very least. They can get the cure. There was a good South Park episode about that where they cured HIV by grounding down your cash money into liquid form and injecting it, and they told all the poor people, just inject yourself with your cash. You got enough money, you can get the cure for anything. That's what that South Park episode was saying. They got the cures for everything. They can cover it up. Scientists will lie to you all over the place. Here's one I wrote down. I wanted to make sure I said everything, so I wrote a lot of notes down. Do vote counters lie? Surely vote counters don't lie. They didn't vote. They don't have their own agenda. Liberal vote counters are going to vote conservative vote counters. Sure, yeah. Conservative people are going to vote the liberal votes. Yeah, sure. They're going to chuck them things in a trash can. And they're going to laugh at you when you say, but my side was in there watching, weren't they? There were Republicans in there watching. The Democrats couldn't throw any of the votes away. There were Democrats in there watching. The votes couldn't have been thrown away by the Republicans. Oh yeah, that's how it works. Not. Do cops lie? They're truthful guys, right? They would never actually lie to make sure you went to jail. Yeah, well, we'll see. And then GMO scientists, do they lie? Would you trust a GMO scientist? Maybe you would, and that's your personal choice, but I don't. My personal choice is I don't trust any Monsanto scientist that says GMOs are safe for me to eat. Well, they all have an agenda, right? They do. Here's a really good quote from Laura Eisenhower that I love this quote, and I quote her a lot in my day-to-day life, but this is a really good quote that I've remembered for years. She said in one of her videos, truth doesn't need believers because it's already true. Only lies need believers. And I will say, to fight or kill over beliefs of truth with no real proof is foolish, and it causes division amongst humanity, who should be uniting to fight the Illuminati together, side by side, left and right. We should all unite. Ooh, I like that. Left and right, we should all unite. Back to truth. Here's another good quote from a Star Wars book in the New Jedi Order quote. The New Jedi Order series. It's a quote from there. He would never really know, could never really know, much of anything. Truth is elusive, and questions are more useful than answers. For me, the only things I know for sure relate to my own mind, body, and spirit. I don't know what's right for other people. I don't know who's right to worship for other people. There's a lot I don't know. And I can say that. A lot of people don't want to say that. They want to say for sure, I know this is true. I know this is right. But do you really? If you're not a scientist and you can't go recreate the experiments in your own lab, there might be a problem. If you're a mathematician and you can't go recreate the curvature of the earth math, there might be a problem. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to dare to go say, I know that this science is real because I trust the scientists who put it out there. Which ones lie and which ones don't? If somebody comes to me with an opposing viewpoint and proof, I'm going to say, okay, cool, man. Cool, cool chick. That's my friends, my peeps. That's cool. You're not going to convince me that you're right and I'm wrong. You're not going to go on a spiritual journey and come back and tell me that I've been spiritual for 12 years, you've been spiritual for 10 minutes, and now you're right and I'm wrong. I'm not going to accept that somebody says, this is the liberal science and this is right, this is conservative science and this is right. I'm going to continue to have my own thought process. I'm going to use my own discernment and make up my own decisions about what I think is right and wrong, even though I really have no clue when it really comes down to it. Question the authority and the trustworthy of all scientists and their sources. Okay? Never forget that. Question everything. Unless you have lived it, you have experienced it, you have seen it in your heart, with your eyes, experienced it with your soul, then you don't really know. You're just taking somebody else's word for it. If you're not a scientist, then you have to take a scientist's word for it that they're telling you the truth and not lying. You have to trust a doctor that they're not lying. You get scared sometimes and you think, who can I trust? Who can I turn to trust? You find a YouTube person you trust. You find a doctor in your local community you trust. Maybe they're telling you the truth. Maybe they're not. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to tell you to use your own discernment, because you never know. You'll never really know. They can betray you after a year, 5 years, 10 years. You never know. You trust yourself. You can trust your higher power, whether that's God, Goddess, whatever that may be. If your higher power is service to others, then you can trust them. If you know in your heart that they are service to others, then you can trust them. But humans are not infallible. Humans are not perfect. Humans lie. And humans have an agenda sometimes. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. Use your discernment. And here's the thing that gets me. Okay, this is what it comes down to. We're sitting here fighting about science. We're sitting here fighting about politics. We're sitting up here fighting about whether or not we need to have bailouts for the government, bailouts for big corporations, bailouts for the people, stimulus checks and vaccines and diseases and viruses, and whether or not to trust the government, whether or not to trust these sources, whether or not to trust those sources. Wait a minute now. We all know that there's something going on pretty screwed up in this world. We all know that human trafficking exists on some level, okay? Most people know that the government doesn't care, but whatever. There is nothing, not one thing, okay, more important on this earth than ending human trafficking and pedophilia. Nothing. Nothing is more important on this entire planet. No issue, no science, nothing is more important on this whole planet than ending human trafficking, pedophilia, rape, all these awful, most effed up things. Those are the most effed up things in the world in my book. Human trafficking, pedophilia, and rape. What are our government officials doing to end those things? What are the cops on the streets doing to end those things? Now, there are some detectives out there who are really pushing to stop rapists, and they're using rape kits and trying to discover who the rapists were and who the murderers were and who the pedophiles were and the catching and the kidnappers. But they're more cops are out there more concerned with stopping you for running a red light and smoking weed in your car. Okay, government's out there more concerned with getting money for the people who paid to get them into office, okay, and passing laws that those people want passed for their companies or for their own agenda. Human trafficking, that's barely on the docket, okay? I know Trump pushed to stop human trafficking in the first year or two of his campaign, but you know what? I didn't really see that much after that. I didn't see him pointing out that rich, famous people in Hollywood were hurting children. Okay, I didn't see him talking about adrenochrome, and I didn't see him really pushing to end the human sex slave trade that's going on right here underground in America. Even if there's only a handful of people human trafficking and hurting children, even if it's like 1% of the human race is getting human trafficked and molested, which I think it's probably closer to 30 or 40%. I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. I don't know. But there's nothing else more important than that. Fighting about science, fighting about doctors and viruses is ridiculous. The only thing that is more important than anything else is ending human trafficking, pedophilia, and rape. That has to stop. I'm a father. I worry every day about someone trying to hurt my babies. And if you're a dad, you're a mom, you care about your babies, I know you worry about that too. We try to sweep it under the rug. We pretend like it's not as big of a deal because we can't live with the fact that somebody might want to hurt our babies. Instead of not being able to live with it, instead of pushing it under the rug, demand to have something done about it. Join one of the many groups out there who wants to have something done about bringing our kids home, and who wants to have some, because, you know, it's just the parents out there who have lost kids that are fighting. Those of us who haven't lost kids do very little because we haven't lost anyone yet. And that sucks, because it's like, when the time finally comes, you might have lost a kid. If you'd have been fighting to help end human trafficking in your community, you might not have lost a kid. I'm terrified. Everyone in my little local community is more worried about fighting the left-right dichotomy. Very few people in my local community, small mountain college town, are doing anything to end human trafficking. They wouldn't even acknowledge that human trafficking exists in our little tiny town. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge that, but that's the perfect place for these crazy freaks to prey on people. Because you let your kids play outside. And I'm not saying don't let your kids play outside. I'm saying end human trafficking and pedophilia. Fight against the things that are awful and evil in this world. Not sitting here having a debate about something you can't even prove. Oh, you think you can prove it? So, these people think they can prove it. They think they can prove that their side is right. They think they can prove left-wing science is right, right-wing science is right. Their doctors are better than these doctors. They think they can prove it. But you have no real proof. You have no real hard evidence other than what other people are saying. These politicians said these doctors are telling the truth. These politicians said these doctors are telling the truth. These scientists are telling the truth. These are telling the truth. You have no real proof. You can't convince the other side that they are right and that they are wrong and you are right. But we have proof that human trafficking is happening. We have proof that children are getting hurt every day. Even if you don't know if the politicians are doing it, even if you don't know whether or not your favorite Hollywood person is doing it, kids are getting kidnapped. Kids are getting taken from their homes. Adults are getting taken from their homes. Teens are getting taken from their homes on a regular basis. And we have to stop that. Fighting over whose science is right, we ain't got no time for that mess. Well, that's what I wanted to make this video about, and I've said my piece. I hope you still don't know if I'm left or right, because I'm not going to bring that up yet. Give you a hint, I'm neither. I don't vote. I don't play the political game. I play the magic and healing game. Healing. Our earth has to heal. Our human species has to heal. That's the step for ascension. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe. I'll be posting more and more and more. I'm not going to go anywhere, but I'm going to try to be cryptic so maybe YouTube won't take my videos down and slash my channel. We'll see. Blessings and love. Praise be to Gaia. And Hail Eris.